Hello, lumps of mud. This is Mudlup50 tackling the big issue of the week. Is it possible to buy a team? This is big news because of the Heat's final blunders. Granted, this isn't just a basketball video. This can be applied to any and every team sport. But let's start with basketball. Back in 2010, the Heat established an Omega team, a team built around their big three: James, Wade, and Bosh. I'm sure this isn't news to anybody, but apparently there's talk that they're going to try and pick up Carmelo Anthony. This is causing quite an uproar online. While this may be new to basketball, as a kid, everybody always talked about the Yankees like that. So there's a lot of hatred on the Heat right now, but paying players doesn't equal wins. For reference, the Nets had the highest team salary this year, with $102,589,967. Wow. Second place, $88,188,494 for the Knicks. Brooklyn ended the season 12 games out of first, and the Knicks 19 games out of first. So, direct proof that team budget does not equal wins. Also on that list, San Antonio ranks 20th, as in 19 teams spend more money on players. That being said, basketball is the sport this is least true in, because each player makes a bigger impact in basketball. For example, I will destroy football, so bear with me. But after the Ravens won the Super Bowl, Joe Flacco's contract got renewed. I remember people discussing if he should take a smaller contract, as in take not as much money as he deserves, so that way the team can be good around him. But he didn't. And as a person who lives in in Maryland, I guess, the team crumbled, and week in and week out, you would hear people making excuses, and they're like, oh, well, he has nobody good to throw to. Well, he'd have somebody good to throw to if he didn't ask for as much money. Moving on. Even in baseball, as I write this, the top four spending teams, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Phillies, and the Red Sox, aren't leading their divisions. Even more amazing than that is the fact that the A's are leading their division, and I think they're still leading the league. They hold the 25th highest salary. Just to clarify, 24 other teams spend more on their players. So you can't argue, at least in baseball, that money buys you the postseason, because you can have a team and pay one player, but really that player only comes up once every 2-3 innings. If you want to look at last year, being as the season isn't over, out of the 10 teams that make it to the postseason, only 3 were in the top 10 spenders. Theoretically, that should be all 10. Granted, one of them did win the World Series, but to be fair, their opponent was like 13th on the list. Probably should have written that down. The point of all the numbers is that money doesn't make a team. There are so many outside factors that get ignored. This is why most stats are a lie. A player can score 30 points a game average, but if he's doing that, he might be doing it by shooting poorly and just getting lucky. If you take 100 shots a game, odds are you're going to have like a 50-point game. If you just looked at the points per game, you'd think that's a good player, but it's not the whole story. Most stats are like that. For example, you could be the best point guard, but if your team sucks at shooting, your assist numbers aren't going to be as high as they should be. I mentioned it in my Unbreakable Records video. RBIs show more about your lineup than you. If you never have someone on in front of you, then you can't drive runs in. You can have direct proof of this if you won. Think about the leadoff spot in the lineup. The first at bat in the game, there's nobody on in front of you. You could hit a home run every time. But your RBIs are going to be equal to your home runs. So you might have 40. On the same token, they might not even pitch to you. I mean, you could have a Barry Bonds thing going, and they could just pitch around you if your team sucks. Plus, you have stadiums like in Colorado that favor hitters drastically, and you have vice versa. There are stadiums that favor pitchers. Then you have huge variables like ego, team chemistry, and fans, because they really do affect everything, really. You can go out and pick the most expensive guys and buy yourself a tough team, but that might not matter if the team doesn't gel together. I can't think of a better way to end this than with this reminder. Lakers, after picking up Dwight and Nash, and that is not an insult, because I absolutely hate when people would insult the Lakers that year, because they ended up making it to the playoffs. Only one team can win it, so why is only one team getting the blunt of these jokes? Anyway, peace out, home skillets.